Good afternoon, folks. It's time for the one, the only, the last micro talk of IAEM 2015. I know, you're very excited. I can sense it. For the last time, you're here at the Crisis Technology Center, which is run by the Emerging Technologies Caucus. If you would like to join the awesome Emerging Technologies Caucus, talk to me at the end of this. And we have our final speaker, who is our outgoing caucus chair, Mary Jo Flynn, and she's going to be talking about organizing social messaging and ways to be really effective in your social media presence online. So, without any further ado, Mary Jo.
Oh, I don't need applause. Thank you. I figure you guys have all got to be absolutely sick of hearing me talk at this conference so far. How many of you do something in the way of writing out messages in advance of disasters for different topics? Okay. And what's your organizational method at this point in time?
Just wing it.
Okay. I'm going to go through a couple of kind of cloud tools that I utilize. The first, in terms of getting ideas for messaging, I love MindMeister. Most of these are Google-based apps. MindMeister is a brainstorming tool, and it allows you to think through some strategies. And forgive me, but I'm going to kind of toggle back and forth between my computer and different tabs on the screen. So with MindMeister, let me just show you some of what's going on there. You can create strategies. And right here I've got strategies for goals, measurements, content creation, whether or not I want it to be a video, a message, a photo, and then I can kind of schedule out that messaging behavior. How much of this you can do in pre-script for disasters is also possible, especially if you want to get photos of areas maybe you know where you're going to be conducting shelter operations, or you know where you're always hosting sandbag pickup locations. You can take photos of that in advance to help people orient themselves and get to that destination, and then include it in your pre-scripted social media messaging. So I use MindMeister as a planning tool, and I've got a variety of systems in here, especially that go to social media. I've even done campaigns for particular social media releases, and I know that's probably really tiny to see on the screen, but it basically takes some campaign messaging and then goes through all of the different potential platforms that you might use. And I'm philosophically, when it comes to social media, I'm not trained on just Facebook or just Twitter. I'm more about it being an entire ecosystem of information and cross-sharing among those different platforms. The more you can cross-share in different areas, the more you're going to reach a larger audience, especially as disasters are happening. And we all know that the more often somebody sees a message from those different sources, the more likely they are to take behavioral action in response to that message. So that's just one of the tools that I use in planning out some of my messaging. I also have to say that I I borrow heavily from the federal government, ready.gov. Basically, every single one of their bullet points on their before a disaster, during a disaster, after a disaster, I grab and utilize for social media messages. So in order to keep those readily available no matter what platform I'm using, I tend to use Google Drive. Within Google Drive, I have a Google spreadsheet or Google Sheet where I keep all of these messages. So if you keep any kind of Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet, the magic numbers that you want to use in calculating the character count for Twitter is equals LEN in all caps, and then in brackets the cell that you want to calculate. So in this example, if B1 was column B, row 1, that's the cell I want to calculate the character count in. It will get me the total count including spaces. I can also add some math to that and say minus 120 or some other math to it, so I get a countdown of characters, and when I hit 0, maybe I don't want to use the full 140 characters. I want to keep it to 120 because I know I always want to attach, or keep it to 117 because I want to attach a picture or a link of something. And so no matter what, I need my text to be concise in a shorter amount than 140. I can set that additional math into that that field and let it calculate. When it hits 0, you can't go beyond that, or you're going to exceed the character count of Twitter. So that's one handy little tool to calculate those messages. The messages I'm about to show you, if you write down this web address, are all messages that are already done for you. So it's bit.ly, bit.ly / capital P-R-E, capital S-C-R-I-P-T. Bit.ly is case sensitive, so make sure you're capitalizing the P and the S. And let me show you what that looks like right now. I need to do some better organization to it, so please forgive me, and I'm going to start adding priorities based on messaging, because how many of you use message mapping tools where you identify your top 3 message priorities, your next 3 message priorities, and your bottom 3? That would be no one. Okay. If you look on the internet, Google the term message mapping. It's a way of identifying and prioritizing messaging so that you can very rapidly integrate tools in an emergency situation. As disasters are happening, sometimes in the fog of war, we can't concisely come up with those messaging in a rapid time frame. So having that pre-done, pre-scripted is helpful, and having them prioritized is helpful. I've used this tool so much that I kind of have an innate sense of priority, but I will be adding some priorities. So this tool, basically it has instructions, and if you have a suggestion to add more messaging to it, you can either email me, or there used to be a web link here to a form, so I will add that back in, but make the text bigger. So it's not letting me scroll much further, but at the bottom of the screen you can see I've got AQMD, or air quality messaging, cold weather messaging. Is that a little bit better? Power failure, energy savings. So you'll notice that some of these go above 140 characters, and so that just indicates to me that I need to modify that message before I can post it. So I'm using that equals LEN, and then the bracket, whatever cell you're calculating, and then you can just drag that column down to do all those calculations. Some of these I've actually, if I make this a little smaller again, oops, not cooperating. Some of these I have actually color-coded, because Google will let you color code some of them so that it turns up red if it goes over 120 characters. So I've got a variety of messages for that. Go back to here. So again, the bit.ly / prescript, and P and S are capitalized. You can take a look at those messages. If you want to add to those, you don't see a category that you think you might want. I share this with everybody. A good friend of ours, Scott Reuter, shares it all the time in every single social media class he teaches. If you look for pre-scripted messages on Twitter, I'm sure you'll find a link at some point in time. Another tool I utilize for archiving messaging or getting it ready to message is actually Pinterest. I have no desire whatsoever to try and get engagement or followers on Pinterest as an organization, but what I do try to do is keep my information organized and readily available so that I have websites, links, photographs to attach to. So this is the Sacramento Pinterest site right now. It's categorized by how to get ready for certain events, so like power outages or earthquakes, thunderstorms. And then also I've got gift ideas, because other people visit this. It's really big for preppers. But if I wanted to do, let's say, holiday messaging, I can go to my gift idea board and immediately start posting, hey, wouldn't this make a great gift? Or is someone's birthday coming up? This is a great opportunity. So those kinds of sites, think about not necessarily engaging with the followers, but how can you use that as a tool to have messaging organized so that if a tornado hits, you can, or a thunderstorm hits, you can be ready with thunderstorm messaging and turn around that messaging in a more rapid fashion. How many of you use SoundCloud? How many of you know what SoundCloud is? A couple of you. So I equate SoundCloud as the music industry's version of YouTube. You can upload sound files or audio files to SoundCloud just like you can upload video files to YouTube. Why is this important? Well, if I can get my supervisor, an elected official, somebody to record a talking point, I can leave it up in SoundCloud, and maybe I can have the mayor of a city or the county CEO or somebody deliver a message saying, here's a preparedness action we want you to take in a super short soundbite clip, and I can leave it up on SoundCloud. I can also direct the media to this and allow them to download that soundbite if they want to integrate it in some of their reporting. But what this does for me is, as we're trying to incorporate some messaging that addresses the needs of individuals with disabilities or those with access and functional needs, I actually went on a mutual aid assignment to a county in California where one of the biggest issues is that a good sizable population could not read. And had the county been utilizing a tool such as SoundCloud, we could have literally just in the app on your phone to record a voice memo, recorded an MP3 file, uploaded it to SoundCloud, and shared that, or even put up a QR code or something so that you can click on the QR code and have the press release start playing. So think of this as a tool, but you can also front load this just like you can front load YouTube with videos as a way to have messages orally or translated into other languages. Perhaps you need to have native speakers translate that message because some individuals cannot read their language in writing, but they can hear that translation. So think of this as a tool for alternative communication and where you can archive some of that messaging. So Cal OES is utilizing SoundCloud mostly for some of their public relations information, but consider the options for emergencies as well. How many of you use Canva? How many of you know what Canva is? So Canva is a graphic design tool that is free. It is online based. And we know that in social media messaging, it's really critical to have images if you want to be successful with your messaging. When it really counts, if you're delivering quality information and it's accurate, the public is going to be receptive to that information. But you will have an enhanced viewership if it includes a photo or some sort of image. So Canva allows you to design different images. And you can basically alter those designs so that you can share that information and be rapid with it. I can download this as either a web file or a PNG file, or I can directly share this file to the internet. So you can archive stuff within Canva and design infographics, which are extraordinarily popular on social media. In fact, it has a tool and a layout to design your own custom infographic. They're all very well designed. Some of these have upcharges, so just be careful what you click on or you end up getting charged. Make sure it says free before you click on it as a tool. Or you can upload your own icons and photos and things like that. And that is my contact information. Are there any questions? Oh, thank you. Any questions about these tools? Yes.
Is it private, or is it, can other people see the material that you create, or is it?
So on Canva, the question was, is it private or can other people see what you create? So right now, these are all in my system, but unless I make it public, I would have to toggle this to make it public. Once I toggle that, I can make this graphic public and use some of the sharing tools. Otherwise, every design that's in here is private just to me. Any other questions? So if I could just leave you with the opportunity to think about some of these tools as archive solutions, what your messaging might look like in a disaster, and front load that, do the work ahead of time before the disaster hits. We all have hazard mitigation plans and other plans that tell us what our top disasters might be. We can start to do the work ahead of time, load those into the various platforms, and then have them ready at your fingertips when it does happen and you need to access that messaging rapidly. And if you have any suggestions for that giant Excel spreadsheet, I am receptive to adding more categories and information to that, so just let me know.
And Mary Jo will be here, so if anyone wants to actually sort of get up close and look at some of these tools, the mind mapping with MindMeister, which Mary Jo does love. We use it a lot in our caucus. And a lot of these other tools, please come up and have a conversation. And I just want to thank all of our incredible speakers, not to mention all of our donors. We've had a lot of donors who have made this possible, got us the TVs, got us some of the laptops we've been operating off of, and we're really grateful to have had them. Rave Mobile has let us test run their notification system so that everybody can go out for drinks at the end of the night. ITDRC did a huge donation even though they're not here, and they worked with Dish in order to provide that. We also have, who am I forgetting? Commandware had the wearable demonstrations, which were really, really cool. Don Fisher provided a lot of the technical support, including giving me my microphone, which is mine. So thank you all so much for coming. I really hope to see some of you sign in. We do monthly conference calls, and we do a lot of webinars. So I hope to see you either at a webinar or at a conference call sometime soon. And enjoy the rest of the conference. Have a wonderful afternoon, everybody.